Oh my. Gotta go to studio mode. Hello? Where is everybody? Jeez, did I make a mistake? Oh God. What did I do wrong? Friends? Ah! Argos Panoptes. Okay, so there is somebody in here. Excellent. I was wondering what was going on. I was worried that that something happened and that somehow people couldn't get the stream. I know I made that mistake one time where I did a stream and there was a mistake. And I accidentally had it up as unlisted for a while. Alrighty. Oh man, already with the questions. Okay. Yes. All right. Yeah, I'm just getting myself all set up here. So 1 second. All right. Cool. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Step Back Tonight, the weekly Tuesday night show that I do, where where I take some questions from you guys. We talk. We hang out. Nope. Okay. I think that we hang out. We are going to do a thing. I have a whole bunch of things that we do, and this one is here's what I'm going to be doing tonight. And before I forget, I'm going to mute my phone. So here's what we're going to do tonight. I am going to take some questions, and I'm going to say that we'll take a few questions. And the big thing that we're going to do tonight is I'm going to watch the Step Back videos and kind of do a creator's commentary. That's the plan. That's the plan for tonight. So the idea will be, I remember I saw ContraPoints do this a long time ago. We're gonna watch my old videos and we're gonna talk about some of the stuff, and we'll see where it goes. Oh man. So my early stuff was, I think that this is good for anybody who aspires to become a creator, because anybody's early stuff, like watch any of your favorite channels and go to their first video and you will see some really sad things. So we're going to start with my first video. I see we already have, but I'll talk to you guys for a little bit first and go over, what's been going on. So there's some fun stuff I can talk to you guys about in Step Back world. First of all, the cannabis video that I had is going to be really relevant tomorrow, because cannabis legalization happens here in Canada tomorrow, in 5 hours actually. And on top of that, what else is going on? The video that I made on Saturday, the video about Khashoggi, actually turned out to be the 7th most popular video in its first 48 hours of any video I've ever made. So that was a huge success. So I'm glad you folks really liked that stuff. Made me really happy. Besides that, yeah, we're gonna go through some old videos. I booked a time at the YouTube space. Now, I don't know how long you guys have been watching Step Back for, but if you have only joined the channel in the last couple months, you might not know that I used to film in this way nicer studio that I was basically using from September 2017 until about March of 2018. And I was booking it every month, but the thing is that it got really hard to book, and so I was trying to figure out how to do things. And I'm very interested in seeing what it's going to be like. So I'm going to write 5 scripts. I'm going to go into the studio just like the old days and record myself doing 5 videos, including a Dia de los Muertos video, which I'm really excited to make. And I found out that Mexi's going to come and see what it's like because she's considering using the YouTube space. I've been pushing her to do it. And then after I do that series of videos, that 5 weeks of videos, I'm then going to try an experiment where I'm going to hold off on making weekly. I'm going to keep making the quick step videos. Those are going to come out every week. You guys seem to really like those. And it's a good way for me to keep in touch and keep you guys up to date on what's going on. But the main step back videos, I'm going to try making a little bit more high quality. So they're going to be longer, more animation, more art, higher quality, I think better stories, maybe some interviews with experts, some awesome stuff like that. And hopefully that will be, I can do that in a reasonable amount of time, but like you'll get fewer of them. It won't be every week, but they'll be better. So that's a thing. So that's where I'm at. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. It's still something that I plan on experimenting with, but I did get some feedback from. I asked a bunch of people on Twitter and on my Discord, which you should definitely go on the Discord if you haven't. I'm gonna put a link to the invitation to the Discord for y'all, because we always could use. The world could always use more Discord people. I'm just gonna turn this clear notifications. There we go. So I'm going to send a link, put it in Mr. Chat Room here. Yeah, so the way that I'm thinking about it is we're in a situation where this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to try it. And I asked people on Discord and Twitter if what things they liked about Step Back and things that they wanted to see changed about Step Back. And the things that came up the most were that they wanted more drawings and animations, which I think says a lot about my face. But on top of that, they liked the consistently high standard of research in the writing, and they disliked how things looked and how things were sort of put together, the mechanical parts of the video. And I've always been sort of up against a wall because I really want to feature more collaborations in my videos. I want to feature more interviews, more better story, like longer time editing and rewriting my scripts. And I can't do that if I'm doing it every week. So I'm thinking if I slow it down and make these videos... the other thing they said is they wanted longer videos. So I think that this is where I'm at. But if you have any ideas about that, if you guys have comments on things that you really like or things you really want to see change on Step Back, I'm really open to learning about that right now because I'm really trying to get the channel to grow because it's been growing at about the same rate. He's been growing at the same rate for just about a year. Basically, ever since the collaboration with Alternate History Hub, the channel's been growing at a steady pace the entire time, and that's good. I'm very happy about that. But I'd love to see if I can get some more buzz going and chase that next milestone. So that's my plan, and I want to see what you guys like. All right, you guys have a few questions. I'll answer those and see what we can go to after that. So, first one comes from 255 AD. Like within 10 seconds of the stream starting, you had a question. Recently, a trans woman in the UK was moved from a women's prison to a men's prison after sexually assaulting some of the inmates in the women's prison. What do you think about the ethics of that? I think that you should watch the Philosophy Tube video on transphobia to get a pretty good answer on that, which is just because somebody committed sexual assault doesn't make them not a woman. Women commit sexual assault. It's a thing that can happen. So that is a example of casual transphobia. It is unethical to put a woman, whether they're a trans woman or a cis woman, in a men's prison. That's it. I mean, the bigger thing is that it's unethical to have prisons. That prisons are a horrible concept, period. But a man can dream. All right, Michael Kirshner, do you smoke? I don't smoke. I don't smoke at all. At least I imagine you're talking about cannabis. I don't smoke cannabis, but not like out of any sort of like righteous indignation about it or anything like that. I don't smoke cannabis because I never know, like, you need to know a guy, you need to buy all sorts of stuff to smoke it with. You need to like, you have to like make deals with shady people, and it costs a lot of money. And then you got to buy like the pipes and the vaporizers and all, or papers or any of that kind of stuff. Then you got to figure out how to use it all. And I don't really have friends that are really into it. So it was just never a thing that ever, like, I mean, I've smoked on a handful of occasions. I used to smoke a lot more regularly when I had a roommate who was a big pot smoker. But, with it becoming legal next week, or when it's becoming legal tomorrow, I imagine that it will be something that I'll do every once in a while. It depends upon how much it costs, how hard it is to get. Things like that. Honestly, I'm curious to find out what legal cannabis is going to be like. I really want to know. Yeah. And also Big Seltzer, actually, cannabis in Ontario specifically, because they're only opening 40 stores around the entire province, they're actually, on top of opening the stores, they're going to have the cannabis store, which is the government cannabis dispensary, is going to sell you cannabis that you can have mailed to your house. So there's things like that. So they're going to mail us cannabis. Like, there's not going to actually be stores until, I think, April of 2019, but you'll be able to buy it online and have it shipped to your house. We'll see what the prices are like. They say it's going to be, quote unquote, competitive with the illicit market, which I thought was a really funny quote to hear. But yeah, I'll be interested to see where it goes. Emperor Alexander, hey Tristan, would you consider the legalization of marijuana tomorrow to be a big game changer in Canadian politics? Yes, I think that we are making a bold statement, not only to ourselves but to the world. It's going to be a pretty big game changer. And did you know that the Liberal government also plans to legalize shrooms? I did not know about that, but I do know that shrooms have been getting a sort of psilocybin. Mushrooms have been getting to... It's been getting to the point where, like, you can... Like, it's being used a lot in research with PTSD and depression. I would not be surprised if they legalized psilocybin therapy or something like that for psychiatrists. But that shit's powerful. I would be, like... Even, like, getting Canadians on board with legalizing cannabis was like a tough thing. Getting them on board with legalizing psilocybin for recreational use sounds absolutely out there. I don't think it's going to happen. But I could see psychiatrists and using it under very, very controlled circumstances. I could see the government passing legalized psilocybin therapy for registered psychiatrists. Argos wants to know thoughts on Sargon and his irrelevant liberalist party. Also, this stream is part of the feminist system. It is part of the feminist system. Yeah, I don't really follow what Sargon does most of the time because he just says terrible things. And for my own psychological safety, I try and not follow what they're up to. And I've even tried to step back from watching the channels, the sort of left-wing drama channels. So, like, I haven't really been watching that much of Kevin Logan or Christy Winters lately because, like, I really just don't want to be associated with that side of things. Although my biggest thing with Sargon is that with my connections and the going to VidCon and stuff like that, I often get opportunities to talk to people from YouTube, and I think I might be the number one lobbyist from the creators who talks to YouTube all the time about banning Sargon of Akkad, because I'm trying to make the case that YouTube needs to ban him, just like they banned, just like how they banned, forget InfoWars. So that's what I'm trying to do, because yeah, after what he did to Anita Sarkeesian at VidCon 2017, that's not a person who deserves a platform. And also, it's just cute to think that he's a liberal. I think that it's really cute to not see that Sargon of Akkad is a fascist. He is a Nazi. He is explicitly anti-Semitic. And also, for a quote-unquote skeptic, he believes in a whole lot of conspiracy theories, which I think is quite suspicious. All right. So, next question. Okay. Oh, okay. We got a little bit more. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So David, shout out David. How come, David? I thought you were going to come to we had another meetup in September and you didn't come. I was expecting you. I wanted to talk about satellites and stuff, but you didn't. I was a little sad. Anyways, David, you want to know how to deal with lawbreakers without prisons? Well, there's all sorts of solutions. There's actually a really good video on non-compete about it. But long story short, getting rid of a lot of the creators of inequality, basically capitalism and the state, would eliminate a lot of the motivations, the incentives that create crime in the first place. Barring that, there are people who have legitimate antisocial personalities and psychological disorders, and I do think that in those cases, you're going to try for restorative justice, which would be trying to fix whatever it is that caused the crime to happen in the first place, and then, reducing what's left of those people who are like legitimately psychologically disturbed people would be for some sort of psychological therapy. Yeah. I don't see the social value of putting people in prisons for long periods of time to turn them into worse criminals. If somebody committed a crime against their community, against other people, they need to be put on a line towards trying to get themselves free, or getting themselves finding out what happened, what went wrong to cause the crime, and then kind of getting it free, or trying to figure out where we could go with. Would the legalization of marijuana also be the legalization of hemp because the plants are slightly different? I don't think hemp is illegal here. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure hemp is legal already in Canada. Actually, I'm pretty certain, because, everybody from BC has, shit made out of hemp. Emra Yurt, will it be legal for tourists? Yes. Anybody who is over the age of 18 can purchase cannabis. It might get you in trouble when you go back to the United States, but I don't think it's illegal for tourists. The problem that you'll run into more often as a tourist is that the patchwork of legalization for cannabis is so uneven all over the country that In some places, it's functionally illegal unless like you own property, and what you are and aren't allowed to do is pretty up in the air. Like, there's some places where your landlord can ban you from smoking cannabis, which will then make and also it's illegal to smoke in public. Like places like Calgary. In Calgary, you can't smoke cannabis in public, and you also can't. Your landlord can also make cannabis can ban cannabis in your units, and so both of those things can result in basically having nowhere. And also, there's no coffee shop, so like it's basically like there's no place for you to legally smoke cannabis. It's legal, but there's nowhere where you can smoke it, which makes things pretty difficult. Or there's places like Ontario. Like if you go to Ontario, you can grow a couple plants. You can sell up to 30 grams to another person, or you can give somebody up to 30 grams. You have to buy cannabis from the stores. But like on top of all of that, you can smoke anywhere that you're allowed to smoke cigarettes, basically. The part about getting fired from your job is not... It's honestly, there's the whole idea, like random drug tests have a lot of issues in Canada, and like it would be very like unless your workplace put a specific ban on smoking cannabis off hours, they really can't test you because there's like privacy and disability health concerns to deal with, like testing for THC, because random drug tests might uncover that somebody is prescribed cannabis as a medicine, and that would be a violation of their civil rights. It'd be a constitutional problem, so there's issues with that. But I do think, for the most part, the only people who I've seen who have actually, like, the only careers and jobs I know of where they've, like, flat out banned cannabis altogether are... like effectively police officers, because police officers can't smoke cannabis within 28 days of going on duty, and pilots are not allowed to smoke cannabis at all. But any place that has unions are also going to be, like unions have been pushing back, and a lot of stuff about tomorrow is that we just don't know where it's going to go. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, like, there's a lot of laws that have never been tested that need to be tested in court to figure out like how the definitions work and things like that. But we're pretty far away from having that all shake out. The next like couple years, like we're not really going to know what's legal and illegal about cannabis for like a couple years because things have to get tested in court and all sorts of stuff. So you can't go into the military. I did not know about that. All right. OMG, mail order weed, a curry / pizza delivery. I'd never leave the house. It's true. Terry. I don't know how long it's going to take. Like, I don't think it's like a thing where like you can order. It's not like ordering a pizza. Like, I imagine that if you order cannabis, it's not going to show up for a couple days. I'm going to try ordering it tomorrow to see how it goes, but I don't imagine I'm going to get any right away. There's already discussions about how there's not going to be enough cannabis for the demand tomorrow, and I imagine the site's going to crash, but we'll see how it goes. All right, Cryptosporidium. How are the cookies from the other day? I think I dozed off before you ate them. Cookies? I don't recall any cookies. Oh, the Girl Guide cookies. They were really good. The every December, the Girl Guides have all sorts of... The Girl Guides have all sorts of these, like, cookies. They do, in the springtime, they do chocolate and vanilla cookies. And then in the wintertime, they do these mint chocolate cookies. And, yeah, we went through that box in a few days. Quite embarrassing, actually, but they were really good. Chocolate mint. My mom, when I was a kid, my mom was a Girl Guide leader, and so we have just so much. We have so much that is like I'm so used to the rotation of the cookie schedule because of my mom when growing up with her. Please smoke live. I can't smoke in my unit. They actually just yesterday put in place a ban on smoking in units in my building. So I actually am not allowed to smoke in my building. I'd be kicked out. I have to go on the roof or go outside. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Girl Guides. If you guys remember, when about a year ago I made a video about the Girl Guides in World War II, and I'm very proud of that video, but nobody saw it. It had H-Bomber Guy in it, but still nobody saw it. All right, Argos. Did you know that gay frogs are real, right? The frogs are gay because the chemical that reaches the rivers and the farm. This is one instance. What do you think we should do? If I remember, it's not gay. It's that, like, frogs can, like, amphibians, but especially frogs, can spontaneously change sex. Like when they're in an all-male environment, some of them will spontaneously turn into females in order to maintain a breeding population. And I think that there was something that was, like, in the water because, like, there's this whole thing about how different types of hormones and neurochemicals are getting in the water because of the urine of people who are taking pharmaceuticals, psychopharmaceuticals. And that's leading to the frogs sort of spontaneously changing sex, which and doing so at, like, a higher rate than they were before, which is causing them a problem. That's literally that's the story that it was, that combined with, like, the theory of the quote unquote gay bomb. Those two things together is what caused Alex Jones to make that insane conspiracy theory. Hello, Night Watcher, my chat moderator. The guard is up. Now you guys have to behave. There's now a mod watching. All right. Your opinion on the concept of elected representatives. How would you improve it? I am not a fan of elected representatives. I think that if you can default as many positions or as many decisions to popular vote, to direct democracy, the better. I like the idea of rule by referendum. I know it's a little unwieldy, but it's a thing that I would really like to see happen. But if we had to use representative democracy, which you would have to do in order to do things like set an agenda and things like that, I'm getting more intrigued by the concept of sortitionism, which is this sort of moving where they randomly choose people in order to fill up a parliament or a body or deciding body or whatever. But I like the idea of sortitionism where you choose half randomly, and then the other half are still randomly chosen, but they're chosen with a weight in order to make sure that you have representation for, like, you have 50 men and women, like 50% men and women. You have representation for different racial groups, different classes, different ethnic groups, like as much variety as you can have. I like that a lot. Sortition. Yeah. Okay, Emperor Alexander. How was Portugal and Sweden able to decriminalize all drugs? It must have taken years to pass the bill. I think it did take a lot of time. I think that the Portugal case led to a lot of there was a lot of back and forth. But I should mention, I think that those countries, a little bit like Canada, this is something that maybe wouldn't make sense in the United States, but, like, a lot of countries can make decisions a lot faster. Like, Canada actually has more of a problem where we can change laws too fast. And so, like, when my wife was trying to immigrate to Canada, nobody could explain to her how to do it, how to go through the immigration process, because every time a new government happens, it changes. And so like, that's a thing. So that's fairly often we end up with like a lot of changing laws. And so things like legalizing cannabis can happen quite fast. Canada was also the first country to legalize medical cannabis back in 2001. And I imagine that Portugal and Sweden probably have a similar type of government system. So really it was probably just about electing a certain government that had it on their thing. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I guess sortition would be like a doctor that sorts. Suppose you could have you and your wife put into one of those Futurama cryogenic tubes and be woken up in full communism achieved. Would you go for that? Maybe. I don't have... If I knew that that was going to be the future, maybe. But, like, I don't have super duper high hopes that there will be a humanity in the year 3000. So, if there was, like, a high chance that I would get frozen and then wake up and I would just have whatever the future that I think is going to happen happens, then yeah, I think that I would not take that, because I'm pretty sure there won't be humans in the year 3000. At this rate, anyway. Okay. Emperor, is it true that marijuana is considered a nootropic? Or is that just something that the potheads say? I think that it helps with... I've been told that cannabis is actually pretty useful for creative stuff. I wouldn't consider it like a nootropic that like helps you with focus and it helps you with like a lot of stuff, but it does, from what I can tell, it does help you with the number one issue that a lot of creatives have, which is just getting over yourself and stop being so anxious and killing your own ideas, and it lets you be more open-minded and entertain silly ideas and things like that. So, because a lot of creative people are very, are very anxious folks. All right. All right. This will be the last question that I'm going to do before we get into watching the videos. So this is from Cryptosporidium. What conspiracies do you think are going on right now? I don't think there are any conspiracies going on right now. I think that there's a really bad, really bad channel there's a really bad conspiracy that Saudi Arabia is trying to do, which is trying to say that this guy didn't get killed, that he like somehow like left through the back door of the Saudi what's it called, consulate in Istanbul, and like disappeared, and it's starting to fall apart. I think that's the conspiracy that I believe in right now. Yeah, Isaac Arthur's videos are good. They're interesting, but Isaac Arthur doesn't talk about how climate change is going to destroy the planet, because that's just a bummer. And I don't think he wants to invite that kind of conflict onto his channel. But yeah, I don't. A lot of his stuff is talking about theoretical material physics and things like that, and that's interesting. And he tells it in a compelling way. But yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that that his future is going to happen the way that he thinks, because we're not the life support systems of the planet are dying faster than we can develop those kinds of things. I hope that your fizzy water providing feels better. Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's talk about... All right. Yeah, Angie Speaks' video on conspiracy theories is really good. And this is a good segue, because if you guys remember... All right, let's get into the main thing of the show. Let's go back. Because my first video is actually about conspiracy theories. So let's go back to February of 2015. I had a channel called Tristan PEJ that my girlfriend, who is now my wife, looked at and said, "These videos you make are so bad, and you need to stop doing this. You are wasting your time." And so, with a heavy heart, because really nothing was really working on that channel anymore, I wasn't putting any effort into these videos, I shut down the channel. You can still see some videos on that channel, but for the most part, everything has been taken down. That was a channel that I had run from 2007 until 2015. So YouTube has been a big part of my life for a long time. And then in the summer of 2015, I had just finished my master's in history, and I was just about to start my PhD in history. Oh, the YouTuber was named Angie Speaks. So, Nightwatcher, could you find a link to the channel Angie Speaks for the chat? So I shut down the channel, and then in the summertime of 2015, as I'm getting ready to start my PhD in history, I realized I was like thinking about history content on YouTube. I think I was like watching Extra History or something, and I realized that there was not really any content on YouTube that was about history, or at least history as I understood it. There was, of course, the Mappers and Emperor Tiger Star and that kind of stuff. There was Extra History, which I thought was great because I did not know what James Portnoy was doing at the time. But it was still Extra History was still almost entirely about war. Emperor Tiger Star's channel is entirely about military history. And there was nothing that was on the history that I was doing. I had just come out of a master's degree on memorialization, on memory and 9/11. I had written a big essay on the proto-feminism of women's letter writing during the American Revolution. I had written a long essay about the pacifism and idea of global government for Albert Einstein. And so I was in the situation where there's all this really amazing history that I was studying. And then I just ended up not liking, I ended up going on YouTube looking for history content, and then there was just nothing. And so I was like, all right, I need to make a history channel. I need to make a YouTube history channel because I can't find one that is making the stuff I want. And I really liked making YouTube videos. So I was looking at what do I do? I don't have a good camera. I don't have a good microphone. How do I make these kinds of things? And then I started watching CGP Grey and the what's it called? The Alternate History Hub. And I started realizing that a lot of these people who are making these quote unquote animated channels are not really animating. They're drawing. It's a glorified slideshow. So I reached out to Cody, who used to have his email address on his channel page. And I just emailed him and I said, hey, I am looking to start a YouTube channel where I talk about history. And I saw you have this style that I really like and I really want to start something in the kind of same vein. Could we have a Skype call and I could talk to you about it? And this was probably back when he had 300,000 subscribers, around the summer of 2015. So he agreed out of the blue. This was completely unexpected. So Cody, we had a nice chat on Skype. He gave me a lot of advice. And one of the biggest surprises he told me is that he made a lot of his Alternate History Hub videos in Google Slides, of all things. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And so I started thinking, about what my first video was going to be about, and I started working on it, and I wrote a script, and eventually I got my first video, and I released it. And the idea was that I was going to make 3 videos on my channel before I started advertising the channel. I also bought Tim Schmoyer's book, 30 Days to a Better YouTube Channel, which helped a lot too. And I see Patrick's in here. Hi, Patrick. So, with that being said, on September 15th, 2015, the First Step Back video came out. And as I said, but I know that some of you have come in since, that YouTube, if you are worried about any YouTuber, if you're worried about getting started in YouTube, you're worried that your videos are not going to be good, just watch any YouTuber's first video. And that's what we're going to do with me right now. All right. Just 1 second. If anybody knows how I can make this transition happen that doesn't involve turning my camera off and on again, I would really appreciate it. Anyways, let's enjoy, shall we? I will, I'll pause if anything happens. We've all heard the stories. Was JFK assassinated by the government? Was 9/11 a black ops operation? Is Obama a socialist Kenyan lizard? Conspiracies are almost the norm rather than the exception in American political life. This begs a few questions. Why are there so many conspiracy theories, and why do so many of them focus on the United States? There is something very American about conspiracy theories. Explanations range from the American values of democratic openness and anti-elitism to the legacy of the paranoid pilgrims of yesteryear. Conspiracies have been with American culture from the beginning. The first English settlers in America were extreme hardline Protestants who saw the devil behind every corner. Not only did this result in seeing the Pope as the Antichrist, but also witch hunts against their own flock. That's not a metaphor, I mean literal witch hunts. Elements of this paranoia carry to today, as the list of Antichrist and apocalypse dates increases year by year. Along with religious fear, there is a massive distrust of secretive groups. One of the favorite targets from the earliest days of the American Republic to today are the Freemasons. Anti-Masonry exploded after a murder in the 1820s of someone who supposedly leaked Freemason secrets. All right, I'm going to pause here because I hear some people saying that like this is better than anything they can come up with. Let's break down what this image is, because this is made in Google Slides, right? This picture is just taken from Wikipedia. The X's are just like letter X's, and there's like all sorts of shape tools in the like Google Speaks or Google Slides, and if you look. This is the first design of my cartoon character. The body is just a rounded square. The hands are circles. The head is a circle. And then the glasses are also beveled edge rectangles with ovals inside for the pupils with like a straight line going to the edge. And then the hair... The trademark hair that I don't have anymore. The trademark hair is there's like some tools in there to make a cloud, and what it is there's one cloud behind the circle and one cloud ahead of the circle, and that has been the hairstyle that I have done forever. And back then I used to have one for my beard because I used to keep like a what's it called, a goatee back then, and it was just the outline. It was the same beard. It was just transparent on the inside. That's literally all that is. It's super simple. So you can just play around with shapes and make something like this. So. It went as far as inspiring an anti-Masonic political party. The cast of boogeymen grew as anti-communist paranoia swept the United States. Seeing as a threat to American culture, everyone just a bit too left of center would be suspected of being a communist spy or secret agent. Organizations like the John Birch Society and politicians like Joseph McCarthy stoked these fears for their own ends. Historians consider this anti-communist Red Scare of the 1950s as a reason why social democracy and other leftist politics seem to be absent in American political discourse. Oh man, did you see that? Let's go back in a second. There. This is fall of 2015, right? So you can already see from my first video that I'm getting excited about Bernie Sanders in the primaries. American political discourse. How do these carry forward to today? Many of the old favorites are still around, with a few new gems. The 1990s added many of the more sci-fi conspiracies to the mix. Some would argue that today, conspiracies run the gamut of American culture. In 2015, nearly half of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory, and popular conspiracies make the mainstream news. Oh. That one's a fun one. How do these run the gamut of American culture? In 2015, nearly half of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory, and popular conspiracy. So if you look here, I thought you'd love this. You can see that this is my old office. These are pictures from my old office. There's Phoebe. There's Phoebe. First video, she was in there, and Romeo, hiding in the back there. Conspiracies make the mainstream news. Just think about Donald Trump's secret evidence of Mexico sneaking into the United States, or the oncoming martial law from war games in Texas. Oh man, does anyone remember this? This is also called something Jade 13 or something. It was oh man. Yeah, it was 2015. It was a simpler time. What are the major themes of conspiracies? Many use control through debt to build their theories. Often corruption is assumed on the part of the government or corporate controllers. Conspiracies act as a form of counter-subversion, attacking targets already subjugated by mainstream society. Other big targets tend towards internationalist organizations, like the United Nations, the World Bank, or the International Monetary Fund. Let's not forget our favorite, big, fat cat capitalists. Major deaths tend to spawn new theories. Every major death in American history, from Abraham Lincoln to Marilyn Monroe, have a conspiracy behind them. One ironic aspect is that groups trying to expose conspiracies tend to become conspiratorial themselves. The Know-Nothing Society that attempted to expose the evil plots brought by immigrants became cloistered, exclusionary, and secretive in their own right. The Ku Klux Klan. I think that one thing that sticks out about my videos, and maybe it's something that I should actually take up around, is that my older videos, I made a lot more stuff. I cut way faster. And last weekend, I watched the first episode of Crash Course World History and sort of worked through how often they cut between different types of media and what kind of stuff they did. And I found that on average, they use their assets for about 3 seconds at most. And I think I was closer to that in my first video than I am now. And I think I need to, part of slowing down the video making process is going to involve having more stuff and having it go faster. Often warned about the conspiracies to strip real Americans of their constitutional freedoms, while conspiring behind white sheets to deprive Black, Jewish, and Catholic Americans of their own rights. Conspiracies are now big business. It's a thriving industry. Oh God, look at that. Oh, how little. I knew, back when I made this video, not many people knew about Alex Jones. He was kind of this obscure figure, and so I thought it was really funny to put it in here. And now, oh, how things have changed. Books, magazines, symposiums, and radio shows. It has built up a subculture of intellectual descent to the mainstream. Why do people believe in these theories? Psychologists are... So that's supposed to be... This is when I knew... ever since I made this video, I realized that I'm not good enough at drawing in order to draw specific people, but this is supposed to be Sigmund Freud. To many causes. The search for meaning in life might make combating conspiracies life-affirming. Confirmation bias, where we disregard evidence that doesn't fit preconceived notions, strengthens the connections. These are further reinforced by conspiracy communities. It also makes the world understandable, taking ambiguity and turning
Jade Helm 15.
Simple, understandable moral struggles. Some psychologists see the theories as projection. Often the undesirable traits of the theorists are projected onto the conspirators. One of the most common evil attributes of these conspirators is sexual liberation. Christopher Hitchens had an alternative claim. He called conspiracies the exhaust fumes of democracy, and simply the end result of free and open discourse.
Now you see, there you go. There, in 2015, the idea that
you could cite Christopher Hitchens and say that, you know, that conspiracy theories were just the exhaust fumes of democracy, and that it was just like an unfortunate side effect. That is just like a side effect of free speech. Man, oh boy, things have changed.
It seems that America, with its story of a grand national mission, leads to theories that go alongside with that mythology. Its dedication to individualism and anti-elitism are powerful.
Oh yeah, Patrick just said something in the chat where it's like, yeah, I feel like when you make a lot of videos, especially when you make them like every week, like Patrick and I do, that like you get into a rut because you're focused on efficiency and speed. And part of my big slowdown that I'm going to do in December is that I want to sort of try new things more often and get more, have more creativity and have more fun with the videos that I'm doing.
Powerful cultural catalysts. Add in some pilgrim paranoia, xenophobia, and racism in the state's history, and you have a perfect recipe for a population that sees conspiracies in every dark corner. Regardless of why people believe them, conspiracies are as American as apple pie, and are likely to shape the political landscape of their quirky country for years to come. What's the craziest conspiracy you know of? Be sure to let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and check out the channel for more episodes of Step Back.
Oh man, that's so old school. All right, so oh god. All right, oh that's 3 arrows. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that video. That was the first Step Back video I ever made. I thought it was fun. It was an interesting experiment, and it did okay. Are you a fan of the channel History Buffs? And also, did History Buffs Armchair Historian and collaborate with Alternate History Hub? And are you a fan of Crash Course History? I don't really know too much about what happened with History Buffs and Alternate History Hub. I think that I like that channel quite a bit. I mean, I'm not really too psyched about the concept of like watching movies from history movies and then commenting on them. It's honestly not really my deal, but it's okay. I am a fan of Crash Course History. I think Crash Course History is good. As far as Caspian Report goes, I used to watch Caspian Report quite a bit. I just found it's a bit too. I often do this thing where when I'm subscribed to YouTube channels, I first subscribe to too many YouTube channels, and then I go and unsubscribe to a whole bunch of YouTube channels. And Caspian Report, I think I stopped subscribing to a while back because just the videos were just a bit too. They're interesting. They're just really long and really dry, and I might go back to them at some point, but you know. Are you familiar with Hip Hughes' history? I have heard of Hip Hughes. I don't know much about him, though, but I have heard of the channel. All right. So when I was starting this channel, the first like handful of videos that I made are based on interesting stories that I knew about the past that I'd always been telling my friends about, like things that I was particularly interested in. Like that video, that conspiracy theory video, was my first attempt at making a video about, or was me talking about a book called The Paranoid Style in American History, by Richard Hofstadter, who's a very important person in U.S. history, talking about how there's something very uniquely American about conspiracy theories. And I've dealt a lot with conspiracy theorists. If you guys, since they're not up anymore, you can't really watch it. But on my old channel, on Tristan PEJ, I used to actually not talk about history all that much. I talked more about conspiracy theories, and I was like a skeptic during the main time of the YouTube skeptic time and YouTube new atheist time and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but that was my first video, and the second video is based on another history story that I was really interested in, which was that there was these stories from the Middle Ages of a bright light that basically drowned out nighttime for several days in the 14th century. And that the rough location where they pointed to had astronomers had found out that it was the Crab Nebula, and so they're pretty much confirmed that in the 14th century that the whatever star mated the Crab Nebula supernovaed, and it was really interesting to watch something like astronomical like a supernova happening through the historical record. And I think I ran back at that point. At some point during that time, I ran this radio show, but it was a radio show where we interviewed grad students about their work. And one of the people that I interviewed that I really, really liked, like I really loved her presence and everything like that, and she was really dedicated to public science, was this wonderful astronomer who's still at Western. Her name is Parshati Patel, and she came on for our radio show back in 2015. And then when I was starting Step Back and I really wanted to do this video about SN 1054, I reached out to her and I said, like, hey, would you like to work with me on this video? And so she gave me, so we did the plan was to make a video where I did the history side, and then she did the part where she described like what actually happened, the science about what happened. And so that's where things go. And so let's watch. This is the second Step Back video, and this is the one where I worked with Parshati Patel. A couple things about it that made it more difficult than usual is that she was much more of a kind of loose and open improvisational style when she did a recording. And I recorded at home, but like I couldn't bring her she didn't want to come to my house. And so she recorded at the office. And so we went into this like office. So the recording quality is not great, but these are sort of the early lessons that you learn. But I had her, when I drew her with like stars and stuff on her, because she actually does like dress in a Miss Frizzle like fashion, where she actually wears clothes that are covered with like, she wears like clothes with stars on them and like things like that. Like that's kind of her thing. She works with kids a lot. She's really great.
Hello, everybody.
Oh yeah. I made all of my friends moderators because I can trust them to know what I need to do in the chat. And Night Watcher is one of my two full-time moderators in the Discord, and so I gave her power on here too because she's usually in here and she knows how to throw out the bums. So let's watch this next one.
This is a story about a planet and a star.
Ooh,
separated by
trying to be all
thousands of
whimsical.
years, that managed to have one brief moment of contact in 1054 AD. to help
Damn. Okay, like that beginning there, oh man, I haven't opened a video with something so good like that in a long time. I actually really like that. It gave me chills. Oh, I really wish that this is another reason I want to slow down my video process, because this back at this point, I used to make, like, this video came out on the 13th of October, so between the first and second video, almost a month. Like, I took a lot more time to make my videos back then. All right, I'll turn up the volume on my videos.
tell this story, I have contacted my friend Parshati Patel, and she is going to start us off.
Just like humans, we all know that stars also have life and death cycle. But do all stars have the same fate? Or do they all die when they explode? Or do they all die quietly? It depends on star's mass. For a star like our sun, it will not blow up essentially like a supernova, but it will obviously blow up the outer layers, which means we are probably not going to be here to see it. However, stars, if they are massive, let's say 8 times more massive than our sun, they will eventually blow up and die not so quiet life. Now, this explosion is giant enough to be actually more brighter than the entire galaxy that hosts the star. Now, one of the most famous supernova remnants is Crab Nebula. You would have seen pictures of it. It's 6,500 light years away. A massive star's core collapses under its own gravity when it cannot hold itself anymore, and that's when an explosion occurs.
The people of Earth wouldn't see this titanic explosion for thousands of years. At this point, the first inklings of the Bronze Age were beginning. The first written words, the first Greek towns, and the first Egyptian dynasties were emerging.
Oh man, like, I love this, like, I want to do more of this. Like, I'm telling the story about how, like, when the Crab Nebula actually went supernova, the time between when the star actually went supernova and the light actually got to Earth was so long that it was, like, from the Bronze Age to the 14th century. And, like, I don't know. This is a video, like, see, if you look, it only has about 5,000 views, but, like, I'm very proud of, like, the writing in this video. This is, like, a video that, like, that I might want to remake or something. But unfortunately, now I don't live in the same city as Parshati, which makes me a little sad, because I'd like to get her back if I were to make this video.
The famous Otzi the Iceman gives us just a small idea of what this time was like for our species.
Alright, let's step back. Why did the star actually explode in the first place? The star converts hydrogen into helium. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. So inside the core, there's a lot of energy that is going into converting hydrogen into helium. At some point, the core will run out of hydrogen and it will be completely made up of helium. Now, the process is going to repeat. Helium core will now start to burn and convert helium to carbon. This goes on until you reach iron. Once you reach iron...
Oh yeah, the music's really
temperatures
badly
are
mixed
so
here.
high, the core cannot hold itself, so it collapses under its own gravity. This is when you get this large explosion, and this large explosion not only
Oh, D-Quack, you're right. Yeah, it was the 11th century, not the 13th century.
explodes the core and the surrounding core, which basically looks like an onion shell, but it also blows away all its upper layers in its surroundings. This is when you get these beautiful nebulas where you have different layers of a star being exploded and blown away from its central core. This explosion releases a lot of material and energy, and this energy is high enough to generate elements that are heavier than iron, which you do not actually form into the star, but actually when the
See you
star
later,
dies.
255
The light of
AD.
the supernova reaching the Earth was a truly global event. In China, the supernova was called a guest star, and people from across the vast Song dynasty saw one more light in the night sky for over a year. Astrologers like Song Kuyao and Song Shi gave accounts of the new
Sorry, just to so she's actually on here. She's on Twitter. She has actually Dr. Parshati Patel. She graduated since we did this video. So if you actually look up Parshati Patel on Twitter, if you want to follow her, she's really, really cool. Here, I'll put her in.
star just to the southeast of Tianguan. In Japan, Fujiwara no Taika became obsessed with guest stars after observing a comet. He too was able to find through diaries that no longer exist today astronomical records of our supernova seen on the island of the rising sun. In Constantinople, where Turkey is today, a Nestorian Christian doctor named Ibn Butlan wrote about the new star in the sky. It wasn't until the 13th century that his works were transcribed into Arabic. Bayun al-Abna. Other suspected sightings include places such as Europe, Australia, and the Americas. The native oral tradition of Australia has an account that we might interpret as this supernova. The same can be said about petroglyphs found in the American Southwest.
So how do you actually detect these? Using these current technologies, we detect neutrinos, which are formed when this core collapse occurs. Now, neutrinos arrive way earlier than the light actually arrives, which means...
Oh, here's another thing I'll show you, because in order to... She wanted to see her family. She wanted her family at home to be able to watch this, and so I actually got the video translated into Gujarati.
means using our observatories, we can actually detect neutrinos way ahead of time before the light from the supernova actually reaches Earth. This gives us hint ahead of time to actually look for a supernova. So when the light arrives, we actually see the exploded part of the supernova, and it actually sometimes is as bright as an entire galaxy, and it can actually be seen with a naked eye. The propagation of this material actually creates beautiful nebula, and which we always see in the pictures are different colors, which means there are different elements that are being shredded from the core of this star. This different material goes back to the interstellar medium, which is where the newest generation of stars actually form. That's how we actually get all the material that is, other than hydrogen and helium, actually around different stars, like our sun.
After years of theorizing by astronomers, they determined this visitor in the 11th century was the famous Crab Nebula. This blur in the sky, a permanent reminder of our supernova. The Hubble telescope is responsible for some of the most beautiful pictures in history. When they sent back photos of the Crab Nebula, we saw the final remains of that explosion that occurred so long ago. a connection between vast spans of distance and time. When we look up in the night sky, we aren't seeing a faraway cosmos separate from us. What we see out there is as much part of nature as the forests and the mountains. We often hear about space as vast and far away, but sometimes the light of an explosion thousands of light years away can come and visit us for a spell. Do you think that we should look at space as part of nature? Let us know down below. I want to thank my friend and real-life astronomer Parshati Patel for her help in telling this story. She actually has a podcast, and you should check it out. I'm going to put the link down in the description. Connect with me on Twitter and Facebook is all going to be down there as well. If you like this video, share it with someone. Thumbs up don't hurt either. If you want more cool history videos, subscribe to the Step Back channel.
God damn. All right. Oh yeah, and this is like the old end screen because this is actually back when they had annotations instead of end screens. But holy moly, like, man, I haven't seen this video in probably a couple years now, and that was a good video. I mean, it looked like crap and it sounded like crap, but like, man, like the whimsy, like I really want to do more of that actually. I think that because like as Patrick kind of mentioned, you started with one video a month, and then every 2 weeks, then every week, and then 2 a week. You kind of get like, so I feel like that turns you, it makes you, it hurts you from like experimenting and exploring things. Like when I find out like when I find out that people like Natalie, who only put out one video a month, like every video is a really awesome exploration and like exploring style, exploring all sorts of things. And I think that the scripts, like, I don't know, like this was a video that's an example of a video that took a month to make. And man, I forgot about how like kind of how much I like that one. But you know what? There's also an angle to this that is like how when a band makes their first album and then they go to make their second album, like they had their whole life to write their first album, and then the second album is you know, they have to make something up on the spot. And so yeah, this is one that I was a really big fan of. Yeah. But yeah, those I think I need to write better. Cause like, yeah, this video only has 5,000 views, which like for Step Back is like really bad. All right. So yeah, so compared to the conspiracy theory video, it actually didn't perform that well. But you'll find, this happens to me a lot, I'm sure it happens to many creators, that sometimes your pet favorite videos don't end up becoming the most popular ones, and the ones that you have no anticipation of doing well become these like sleeper hits. It's really surprising. All right, so the third video seems like so like the first one was me tackling like American culture, and you know, because I have a really big interest in American culture. And yeah, Night Watcher, I am planning on I'm going to film a batch of weekly videos next Tuesday, and then I'm going to edit and release those every week until about late November, and then after that I'm going to slow down. I'm still going to make quick steps every week though, because you guys seem to really like those. All right. So the third video, this is the history of tobacco. This is another case where like we don't really talk about like the history of our relationship with plants and our relationship with nature, or with drugs. And so like I wanted to make a thing about our history with tobacco because, first of all, like, why tobacco? Like, why is tobacco so popular? And where did it come from? Why is it so ingrained in our culture? On top of that, though, I wanted to... I was working on a project for school. I think it was like my first year of my PhD, so I was taking a class on gender, in American culture. Oh no, it was Gender on the Frontier. That was the name of it. It was a class called Gender and the Frontier, and I was doing an essay on the Marlboro Man and sort of the selling of a masculinity and its link with the frontier. And so I was doing a lot of research on smoking and the especially the lung cancer denial period of the cigarette industry. And so that kind of led into me thinking I should do a more general video about cigarettes and tobacco in general. And it led to my third video.
Today, nearly everyone you know will warn you about the dangers of smoking. However, despite the best efforts of governments, activist groups, and the medical profession, about 42...
Oh, okay. That's another big thing we got to talk about here, too. So I sent the first couple videos to Cody. The first video I sent to Cody, he was like, that's good. It looks a lot like my style, but besides that, like, really good. And then the second one, he was like, okay, cut it out. You're, like, copying the Alternate History Hub style. Like you just need to do it. And so between so a few things happened between the second and third video that I also need to talk about. And that was, I switched from Google Slides to PowerPoint, and I redesigned my character. And this is the redesign I did. And this one, as you can see, hasn't changed a whole lot since, like, it's been tweaked over time. But this is the original time where, like, the character that I had as a stand-in for me looks pretty recognizable. I'm sure this figure looks pretty familiar to you.
Governments, activist groups, and the medical profession, about 42 million Americans smoke regularly. How is it that something so bad for you is still so popular?
This is definitely also the video where I first started to associate Step Back with purple.
Going back thousands of years, and the dangers of smoking were not always known. The first use of tobacco is recorded as far back as 600 AD. The plant is native to the Americas and was first cultivated by the natives for various uses. Often they did not use tobacco recreationally, but for religious and social rituals. In large doses, tobacco can be an hallucinogen, used by mystics to induce visions. Today, we should say something is as American as cigarettes. Apple pie isn't particularly American, and the US is the world's second largest supplier of tobacco. Some of the first English colonists in America came searching for gold. When they quickly learned that Virginia does not have any gold, they turned to tobacco growing to make the profits. And it worked too. What's better than a product that people get literally addicted to? Tobacco is an odd crop. It really can grow only at a certain density, and so more land would always be needed to grow more tobacco.
Yes, Google Slides. Yeah, these videos were made this one was made in PowerPoint, and all I did was each of these, as you can see the pictures move along, each of the pictures are just one slide. And then after I finished making each of the slides, I just saved it as a JPEG, and it basically just turned every single slide into its own JPEG. And then I took those JPEGs, or PNGs, or whatever the hell the format was, and I put it in a video editor to then sync it up with my voice.
It also doesn't mix well with other plants and destroys the soil it grows upon. The whole growing process is very labor-intensive, and so Virginian plantation owners needed to either trick their fellow Britons or kidnap Africans as slaves in order to keep production up. It makes sense then why the founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson defined the American dream by owning land and working it with slaves. Tobacco didn't enjoy unanimous love. King James I of England in particular despised tobacco and published an entire treatise about how disgusting it was. More recently, you might know about the anti-smoking campaigns of the Nazis. The Germans were some of the first to figure out the link between cancer and smoking, and the response from the authoritarian government was very strong, with the intent of maintaining the reproductive health.
What video editor did I use? Oh, geez, I'm trying to remember what it was called now. I think it was called, like, let me just get the... I'm going to keep playing the video, and then I'm going to look it up for you.
Of the pure German people, the Nazis banned smoking from many public places, ran large education campaigns, and even limited tobacco rations to their soldiers. Like anything associated with Nazi policy, anti-smoking measures had a sour taste in the world's mouth for a number of decades. It is actually rather recent that smoking has a definitive label as unhealthy. A study by the Medical Research Council of lung cancer patients in 1949 confirmed a decade of building evidence that smoking and lung cancer were highly correlated. Between 1951 and 1954, they surveyed almost 60,000 doctors from around the world. By 1956, the science was incontrovertible. This would not be the end of smoking, however. Anyone who has seen the first episode of Mad Men will know that cigarette manufacturers went to long lengths to get people smoking as long as possible. This involved misinformation campaigns, advertising, and lobbying of government agencies to muddle the information about the health hazards of smoking.
Despite overwhelming evidence, for nearly a decade in the US, there was no official word from the Surgeon General about this topic. In 1964, the first Surgeon General's warning on the dangers
Just
of
randomly
smoking
change
came out to
the
public, and the last 50 years have not been good.
recording.
Around
I
the
can't remember
world,
why I had to do that
awareness
anymore.
campaigns, restrictions on smoking, and true consensus building have hurt smoking's numbers in the West. Many consider it one of the most successful campaigns to change behavior in a population. This campaign has had a couple drawbacks we must contend with. While smoking has decreased in the West, the same companies that muck with the information in the politics of tobacco restriction here are at it again in the growing economies in Asia. China and Indonesia have staggering smoking rates, and they're trying to keep it that way in those countries. We also have turned to blaming the smoker for their addiction.
Smokers are addicts to a drug that is notoriously hard to quit and need your love and support to get them to stop. In the fight for research money, this translates to depressingly low amounts of funding for research to treat lung cancer. To bring it to today, we need to be careful about scientific debates in political realms.
When different political parties are arguing over something in the realm of science, it likely means that a lot of money and economic interests are playing a role.
Check out the information for yourself.
Does this make you think of tobacco or smoking differently? Let me know down below. Connect with me on Twitter and Facebook.
All down in the description.
If you like this video, share it with someone.
The top part of the video is cut. Oh, sorry about that.
Thumbs up don't hurt either. If you want more cool history videos, subscribe to the Step Back channel.
All right. Okay, I don't remember the actual. So, like, the way that I had it working was I did the videos in a program that was just called, like, it was 3 letters and then video editor, but I can't remember the name of it. It cost me about $80. And I'm honestly trying to remember what it was, because it's like now it's driving me nuts. Anyways, so this was VSE. Anyways, so this was the smoking video. At this point, this was the first video where, like, all right, I've settled on a style that I like, and I also got into a situation where I was like, all right, now I can actually start advertising my stuff, and I started showing my friends and stuff. So after this is when I started doing that. And then, was it AVS Video Editor? Let me check. Yes, Radical Reviewer, I think you are right. AVS Video Editor was, yes, that was the program I used. I used AVS Video Editor. That was the program that I edited my videos in back in this period of the show, the channel. I think it's what I used all the way up until like fall of 2016. So long time. All right, but the next video is the very often abandoned, picked up, but always considered like the most popular video. So my first, it's so sad because this video to this day is still the best video on my channel for converting people to subscribers. It's my 4th video, and this one to this day, as you can see, it's gotten 46,000 views, which is pretty good for my channel. And on top of that, it has it started the 5-part series that is, I think, a lot of people's first introduction to my channel. Like, I think that if I were to ask, I think that this is probably the video that all of you have the highest chance of having seen before. And it's the beginning of the series about who was suspected to have come to America before Columbus. I'm sure all of you, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this series. I ended it about a year ago. So, like, it took a long time to get through, even though there were only 5 episodes.
Every September, the United States celebrates the arrival of Christopher Columbus.
And
the
also,
man who discovered
my
America.
biggest video for
Well-
converting subscribers starts with me getting the month wrong for Columbus Day, because I don't live in America, so I didn't actually know what day Columbus was, and I thought it was in September, or I slipped my mind, or something like that.
Holiday has courted much controversy because of his genocidal treatment of the natives he encountered. However, there is another issue to challenge
I think this also is the first video that I did after I got this Blue Yeti. So this is the audio from now on out.
him on. Was Columbus even the first explorer on America's shores?
Oh yeah, this thing. So that intro I actually bought off of Fiverr. It's so sad.
It seems that from the moment Columbus landed in the Caribbean in 1492, theories popped up claiming that he was the last of the show, not the first. It seems that many a historian, folklorist, and archaeologist have theorized, and at least one case confirmed, these claims. Between the Bering Strait migration of the Ice Age and Columbus's voyage, other explorers made it to the shores of the Americas.
Oh yeah, so this is the time when I started, I changed up my style a little bit too, and I added some animations. And so what this used to be is, this was still made in PowerPoint. So you know that like PowerPoint has animation features in it. And once I started getting more comfortable with it, I started putting some animations in the videos. And what I would do is you can actually save, this is another thing that is not a well-known feature of PowerPoint, but you can actually save you can save a slideshow as a video file. And it basically gives each slide like X amount of seconds to do it, and it goes through all the animations. And so my other, now, like the way that I was doing it is I was making the video files for the slides and getting those in and timing those with my voice and getting pictures to fill in the rest of them. It was very much a bodge because I did not have any sophisticated tools back then. And so that was just how I did it.
There are actually so many potential theories of first contact that we have to make several videos to cover them all. Not all theories are made equal, however, and so these videos will figure out which are plausible and which are likely bunk. Let's start with the first humans to arrive in the Americas. The first people came via a land bridge that connected Russia and Alaska during the last ice age. The low sea levels opened up a land bridge, and those hunter-gatherers hunted and gathered their way across. As the world temperature warmed, the giant ice sheets covering most of Canada began to melt, and the land bridge closed. In a shockingly short amount of time, people migrated from Alaska to the southernmost part of Argentina. These were the ancestors of all the Native American people. The first confirmed contact after this migration was from our Norse friends in the 11th century.
Oh man, this is also the video where I switched up the music for different subjects. That's a thing I should probably start doing again. Is this, this is like most people's first video they saw of Step Back, even like to this day. I'd be curious though if you guys can remember, if anyone can remember what the first Step Back video you saw was. I'd be really curious.
Eric the Red and Leif Erikson navigated their way across the northern Atlantic. Their legend claims that they settled in Greenland, Helluland, which is suspected to be Baffin Island, Markland, suspected to be Labrador, and Vinland, which we think to be Newfoundland. These colonies lasted for 400 years. Historians always suspected these stories were true, and then in 1960 archaeologists found the L'Anse-aux-Meadows site in northern Newfoundland. Finally, we had definitive proof of a Norse colony in the Americas, centuries before Columbus. This discovery was really profound, and shook up our narrative that old and new worlds never connected before Columbus. Although that's the only confirmed contact, I'd be remiss not to tell you about some of the more fringe theories. These range from the probable to just plain silly. The first and most likely theory concerns a Polynesian contact with South America. We know the Polynesians settled as far as Easter Island, just 3,600.
Oh man, you can tell that I don't have a pop filter because my plosives are just awful.
86 kilometers from the Chilean coast. It is close enough that given the prodigious sailing skills of the Polynesians, contact could be possible. There are 4 main reasons researchers suspect this.
See, like so many of you, this series was the first one you saw. I think that's really interesting. I wonder why this subject seems to be so good at bringing non-subscribers into the fold.
The first has to do with the humble sweet potato. Both the Polynesian islands and South America have this plant, and genetic testing has shown that the sweet potato was introduced from the Americas to Polynesia around 700 AD. The real debate here is whether or not a sweet potato needed humans to be introduced, or if an enterprising sea potato made the brave voyage herself. The second deals with bird bones found in Chile, which belong to a chicken, an animal not native to the Americas. Two separate genetic tests show that the bones are a chicken, but they have no idea whether it is from pre- or post-contact. The third piece of evidence deals with linguistics. The words for sweet potato and stone axe are very similar in Polynesian languages and the Quechua and Aymara languages of South America. The last link may be the nail in the coffin. Genetics show that an island off the Chilean coast has people of both Polynesian and Native American descent. Moreover, evidence was found of a genetic link in the extinct Botocudo people in the interior of Brazil. The latter is highly contested, with research suggesting they both do and do not have Polynesian genes. Tune in next time when we will look at the other theories of travel.
I should probably mix up the music more. I think it helped a lot.
As well as Arab and Semitic explorers predating Columbus by over
Oh
1,000
man, these like parts of the series here, like just going through, it's just like holy crap. Like, okay, some of these videos would come out like years after I made this one. It took 2 years, I think, to finish the series. This video came out in November of 2015, so, you know.
years. I will warn you though, from here on out, the hypotheses get more and more disputed and based on less and less evidence, but they're really interesting to think about. Do you know of a crazy pre-Columbian contact theory? Let me know down below. And if you want to follow me around
I also
the
used to say
internet,
that a lot.
sign up for email
I should do that.
updates. And of course, subscribe for more Step Back.
And that feels like the first, like, more... That feels like much more of a modern Step Back video, you know? Like, that... You can see in that, like, the change between the tobacco video and this one, you can see a much more development, even in my little character's art style a little bit. But, like, you can see that the style of it feels a lot more like a Step Back video today. This is the video that was the first one of mine to really take off in a decent way. And probably, I don't think it got me my first 100 subscribers, but this video is probably the first one where I hit something that I was like, oh, this video is a bit of a success, so I can probably, you know, go and do that a little bit more today. I mean, it's held up. This video still gets a ton of views. It has 46,000 views. See you later, Patrick. Oh my goodness. Bob Char, the concept of time in Native American culture. That video was the first video I made after moving to Toronto. And people, like, that video did not perform well. You are a unique creature to have found Step Back through that one, or have it be your favorite. That's really cool. Because, yeah, that and the Holy Prepuce video both did not do well. All right. The next one. So the next one is my Spanish flu video. And this is a pretty cool video. So this video happened because when I was first starting out, just like how I ran into Cody, and if you're a new YouTuber, I would suggest that you do this, is just always be trying to get in touch with people who are, you know, who are involved in history stuff or involved in like stuff that you're in your area, and always be trying to like see if you can get them to share your stuff or collaborate or just get them to know that you exist and make those connections. It's really bad to just like come out of the blue and say, hey, you should subscribe to me right now. But it's okay to like, hey, I'm making stuff too. I thought you'd be interested in it. You know, try to make connections in that sense. And I think, and one of the first ones I made besides Cody was I reached out to the Great War, you know, the World War I series that covers the World War I every week. I reached out to their social media director, and he sent me an email that said, I would be happy to share like one of your videos on Facebook if you made a video about World War One. And so I was like, all right, I don't like particularly care all that much about World War One, but I did find the Spanish flu interesting, and it's a thing that not a lot of people knew about. And so I thought it has to do with World War One. What I think is interesting, the most interesting facts about World War One to me are, one, the Christmas truce, and two, the fact that it was a disease that basically forced the war to end. And so I wanted to talk about the Spanish flu because it killed more people than World War One, and it was extremely deadly. But then everyone forgot about it, and it was still fall, so it was like flu season. And this is the video. This is the video that it got shared on the Great War Facebook page, and this is the video where I got to where I shot past 100 subscribers, which is it's so cute because that's like, very like if anybody knows anything about making stuff on YouTube, is that the first 100 subscribers are the hardest subscribers to get. When nobody knows that you exist, just getting from 0 to 100 is really hard. After that, you have an audience, you can start building things up, but there's but like the first 100 is like you have to fight for every single one of them. And this one I think got me at a time when I think I had like 60 or 70 subscribers, got me to 100, which was huge. So let's watch the Spanish flu video. It also was my first collaboration with a channel that is no longer active, if I recall correctly. Is a channel made by a science student in McGill, I think, and he stopped making videos pretty soon after actually this collaboration.
Each year, we are flooded with large ad campaigns encouraging us to get our flu shots. Most of us wonder why. The flu doesn't seem that bad, right? But then, every few years, a deadly bout of swine flu, or bird flu, spreads through society. We understand a little bit better. But in 1918, the flu demonstrated just how bad it could be. We had an outbreak of the disease like no other. The Spanish flu would go on to kill more people than the First World War in a manner...
Man, I was so much better at writing my cold opens. I was so much better at writing cold opens back then than I think I am now. I need to think about that a little bit.
...of months. This is the story of the pandemic that touched every corner of the globe.
Here's my wonderful Fiverr intro.
In a British Army hospital and staging camp in Etaples, France, the Spanish flu jumped from a bird to a pig and then to a soldier. This nameless soldier did not know it, but his body incubated a disease that set off the deadliest outbreak in history. The flu was spread by the close quarters and massive troop movements of the First World War. With so many millions of troops moving and living together, and 20th century transportation making contact with new people commonplace, the virus proliferated at a rate...
Oh man, I'm very proud of this. This is one of the graphics I think I spent the most time working on. The Magic the Gathering card, because the story behind it is it's just based on the fact that I use the word proliferate, and I used to, when I played Magic the Gathering, a long time ago, probably back in 2009, 2010, this picture, this card, I used to actually run a mono green weenie deck that used the poison mechanic. And the way that it works is that in Magic the Gathering, you have 20 hit points, and your goal is to get the opponent to 0 hit points. But if you use poison, you only need to get to 10, and the creatures tend to be weaker. And so I had this extremely annoying mono green poison deck that I used to play. And I don't remember exactly what set it was. It wasn't black, but I thought it fit for what we were doing with this thing. But yeah, that was why I made this card. Oh, actually, if anybody is a really big Magic the Gathering fan, I will know that I did use the same symbol. So if you look at the set symbol there, that was the symbol that my mono green poison deck was. So if you know which one that is, please let me know, because that was what I used.
Rate never seen before. Every human the virus infected would be a petri dish. The virus could mutate, evolve, and eventually become more lethal to humans. In a matter of weeks, the virus was all over the world. The disease became known as the Spanish flu, as news of it spread through the Allied forces. Spain was not participating in the war, and so they did not employ a wartime censorship on the press. Because of that, the first stories to come out about the flu came from Spanish sources. And so the virus that jumped to humans in a British hospital in France got the name the Spanish flu.
I like this. Didn't CGP Grey just do a video about something like this? Oh, man. I used to have a lot more Easter eggs like this, too. I should probably do more of those.
The Spanish flu had an amazing ability to spread, but that's not the only noteworthy thing about it. It was also the deadliest flu ever encountered. It killed about 10 to 20% of those who contracted the disease, totaling to about 3 to 6% of the Earth's population. To understand what made the flu so deadly, I have contacted Chad from Childish Wonder to explain this.
Childish Wonder, that was the name of the channel. I don't think it ever took off. It never really got that big, but it was my first collaboration, so it was a little bit special. And I think at the time he had more subscribers than I did, and we were both very, very small. So this was a big deal for me.
The science.
The Great Influenza Pandemic of 1918 was the most destructive pandemic in recorded history, killing more people than all the casualties from World War I. It is estimated to have infected over a quarter of the world's population and resulted in the death of 50 to 100 million.
That was the state quarter for Indiana, because my wife is from Indiana. That was a little nice thing for her.
People. In fact, there were so many deaths that the American life expectancy dropped by 10 years during this time. The weird thing about this pandemic, though, is that unlike yearly influenza epidemics, which usually have the greatest impact on infants and the elderly, the 1918 influenza pandemic took its greatest toll on healthy adults between the ages of 20 and 40. But why would that be? Well, the virus in 1918 was so efficient at invading the lungs that the immune system was forced to mount a massive response to it. And what ended up killing these people wasn't actually the virus itself. It was these people's own immune systems. Typically, the body can fight off the influenza virus before it can really penetrate. But once the 1918 virus got into the lungs, the immune system had to do everything it possibly could to get rid of it, and it didn't hold back. Part of its defense was to produce a huge amount of cytokines, which are proteins that increase blood flow and recruit immune cells to the site of the infection. The immune cells and cytokines in the lungs then waged war. Unfortunately, the casualty of this war ended up being their own bodies. This attack, sometimes called a cytokine storm, damaged uninfected tissue as well, and caused fluid to leak from the blood vessels, filling up their lungs. And it didn't stop there. Cytokines leaked into the rest of the circulation as well, causing high fevers, uncontrolled bleeding, and eventually multiple organ failure and death. So it wasn't actually the virus that killed, it was the immune response. And having a healthy immune system was actually a liability rather than an asset. Those with weaker immune systems were the ones able to survive, as their bodies couldn't generate such massive and devastating responses. But healthy young adults could, and sadly, they were the ones that made up many of the victims of this pandemic.
Thanks for the uplifting.
So yeah, that was my first collaboration with somebody. It was pretty fun. The thing I would probably say about that, the whole cytokine storm thing, I don't know. I thought that was really fascinating, that it only killed young and healthy people. I don't know.
Info, Chad. By the way, you should check out his channel at Childish Wonder. It's really good.
Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to mention on here is that the music in this was the first time where I experimented with This is like the most up-to-date video I had ever done, because it was like in the 20th century. So I actually tried to get some music from 1918 and 1919 to play in the background. But I got a lot of comments that were kind of complaints about that, because it had people singing and stuff like that, and it didn't really people didn't really like it that much. So I never did it again.
August of 1918, the flu had undergone a new, much deadlier mutation, quickly spreading to
Super
France,
Saiyan, nice.
Sierra Leone, and the United States. The ongoing war actually helped make it deadlier. Under normal conditions, viruses that cause mild illness actually spread the easiest. However, on the front lines of a battlefield, a mild flu does not release a soldier from duty. Only deadly, serious disease
Oh man, all right.
cause mild illness
I wanna read
actually
this.
spread the easiest. However, on the front lines of a battlefield, a mild...
So this is a shout out to my high school band. When I was in a band in high school, I was in a band where we played a lot of metal covers. And this song, it says there, you will do what I say when I say back to the front. And that is for anybody who doesn't recognize that, that is quotes from lyrics from the song Disposable Heroes by Metallica. And the band that I was in was called Disposable Heroes because we played a lot of Metallica covers. I wasn't a huge fan of Metallica, but my bandmates really liked Metallica, and so we played a lot of Metallica covers. And so, so I thought I would, have this little reference to Disposable Heroes, the song, and the high school band that I used to be in.
Flu does not release a soldier from duty. Only deadly, serious diseases send soldiers back to the giant hospitals filled with immune-compromised soldiers. Through this, the deadliest strains were the ones that survived and spread. Even in places with relatively low death rates, the Spanish flu ravaged communities. It instilled in people a fear of one another and halted the delivery of public services. Infected by ships coming from New Zealand, the Pacific Islands...
Oh, okay. Here are a couple things. So first of all, there's a little bit there where my modern character was making fun of the art assets that I made in my first video, saying that you look ridiculous, to show that, man, the art style was done. This got so many people mad. So... this is in reference to the country of New Zealand, and this made one of the people who made mad was if anybody knows the guy who runs the channel Soliloquy, who does animated science-y type videos, and he's from New Zealand. And what was going on is that when I made this video, it was when the Kiwis were going through they were having an election about whether or not they should change their flag, and they narrowed it down to 5 finalists, but then just arbitrarily they threw this one in here, and a lot of New Zealanders hated it, and so I put it in as the representation of the New Zealand flag in order to troll them. I thought it was funny, but the New Zealanders did not think that was funny.
So Fiji, Nauru, and Tonga were hit extra hard. They lost as much as 15% of their population. The flu spread to all corners of the earth. The only place that didn't experience a severe outbreak of it was a tiny island off the coast of Brazil, and possibly Antarctica, unless there was a penguin flu we don't know about. Then out of nowhere, the Spanish flu disappeared, just as fast as it began. There was no vaccine, no cure, it was simply mutating into a milder form.
That part I found really scary to talk about, which is that it's not a victory ending. It was this sort of, it just was done with us.
It did, however, leave a deep legacy. Historian Andrew Price Smith argued that heavier death tolls from the Spanish flu in Germany and Austria are what tipped the stalemate.
Oh, Christian, you want to know who my favorite Overwatch character is? It's Lucio.
First World War in favor of the Allies. It also might have given the predominantly female nursing corps a shot in the arm, showing that they could help when the mainly male doctors without a vaccine or cure couldn't. This might have emboldened the profession and pushed more women to go to higher education for nursing. The flashier First World War going on at the time meant that within a decade or two, the Spanish flu was largely forgotten. It was not until the bird flu scares of the 90s and the 2000s that this forgotten pandemic was remembered. We tend to think of great events in history happen because of human agency. The Allied victory in the First World War was due to a surge of American troops. Diseases are cured by doctors, and the Industrial Revolution was a result of strong government policy. But we didn't control the Spanish flu. It came and went all on its own. Maybe sometimes we don't have as much power as we think. Maybe sometimes things just happen. In many ways...
Oh yeah, here. This is a fun one. So this is actually, I think, almost entirely ripped off from a Saturday morning breakfast cereal comic.
We're simply animals, and our ideas of control over our own destiny are often greatly exaggerated. How much control do you think we actually have over our own history? Let me know what you think down below. And if you want more history that goes off the battlefield, subscribe for more Step Back.
Alrighty. That was fun. That was the first video that really got me my first 100 subscribers. That got me an actual audience, and I felt really good about that. So what happened next? Well, by that time, that was made on, I think it came out on November 26th. So we were getting into December, and so I made a Christmas video, and I did another one the next year, or I did another one 2 years later, and then I think I never did one again, because as you can see here, the first Christmas video I did was How Christian is Christmas, which is kind of a tired hat type of video subject, but it was not, it did not do well. As you can see, it has 6,500 views, and this video is almost 3 years old, so not a huge success.
Ah, the holiday season. It's now no longer complete without at least a few news commentators or family members expressing their dismay about just how sick.
Oh yeah, just the thing that's really funny here. If you look, I'm wearing a this shirt. This was funny. So for the longest time, I changed my shirt every video, because what would happen was I would make a video. Every video I would be wearing the same shirt that I was wearing when I started animating. And this is a Feminist Frequency t-shirt that I have, that I still wear and I still love, but I actually couldn't find the print online, so I had to go and take a picture of my shirt and Photoshop it.
Secular it has all become. They speak of putting the Christ back in Christmas, and it makes sense. Christmas is, after all, a Christian holiday. Or is it?
Oh man, that was a fun sting.
325 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine called for the now famous.
Love this. I am secretly a huge fan of Hellblazer. I love it. All right. Whoa, it's Debo Data, the guy who has said on at least 75 occasions now that I have to make a video about a region in southern India. No explanation as to why, no explanation as to how, no explanation as to like why it's so important that I make this video about this one region of southern India. But literally 100% of your comments end with "Do Tamil Nadu, do Tamil Nadu, do Tamil Nadu." I'm going to be hearing that in my freaking dreams. I like, what's it called? Just do Tamil Nadu? Like, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what you want. Why do you keep asking? If you want me to quote unquote do Tamil Nadu, you have to actually sell it to me. You have to explain why you want me to make it. What's important about it? What's interesting? What's the story? Anything. Cause like, you just say it a lot. I don't want to be mean. Just like, you've been putting it at the end of every comment that you made on every video I've made for like months. Oh no, here we go.
Council of Nicaea to deal with all the inconsistencies going on in Christendom. It was from this they decided things such as which books would be in the Bible and which day many holidays would be celebrated. Here, the date of Christmas.
Well, now you've started a meme. Okay.
December 25th. Why have a holiday at this time? Well, it was already a holiday. The Romans had a December festival called Saturn.
For anybody who's into like
Saturn, and in doing so, bring back a bit of the golden age of the past. Slaves and slave owners shared meals, and
too much. Oh no, here we go.
Nicaea put Christmas here to preserve the holiday season. So I guess that means happy holidays came first.
I did ask for it. It's all right. It's all right. I love it.
Come from this festival. Kissing under the mistletoe was a Saturday.
Look. Oh yeah. Look, I drew Kelly for the first time. She hated this drawing. It looks so bad. The step back style does not work for women. And so like, hashtag do Tamil Nadu. Oh geez. So like, this is the drawing of Kelly that I did for the first time, and she despised this drawing. She hates it so much. To this day, she tells me that she hates it.
And if you
holiday
look, one thing here,
So I
that's another
guess
interesting
that
thing here
means
too.
happy holidays came first. Many of what
So here, if you look, the wreath is made out of the same. It's made out of the same drawing that I used to make my goatee, and if you look at the mistletoe, it's my hair.
we call Christmas traditions come from this festival. Kissing under the mistletoe was a Saturnalia custom the church actually tried to ban. Decorated trees, wreaths, and other
I love that little like SPQR star on the tree.
greenery were part of the Saturnalia festivities. And on December 19th, the Romans held a holiday called
And also, here's another Easter egg. If you can see, there's like a little flu virus hiding in the presents. I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny.
Sigillaria, where they exchanged gifts. Other Christmas traditions come from pagan folk customs.
There you go.
Act of caroling.
Act of caroling. Look, this is back when I actually still watched The Walking Dead, and I didn't think that it was a pile of hot garbage. Oh my, how things change.
Comes from the Anglo-Saxon tradition, but is suspected to be much older. People actually would meet to
Well, you know what, Erudito? I think that the typo is part of the meme now, so you just got to roll with it.
sing in orchards, and were called wassailers. Santa? Well, he's actually a fun amalgamation. Many parts of his story come from Sinterklaas, the racially problematic Dutch character who
Oh yeah, this is another one. I have like a handful of Dutch people who watch my channel, and whenever I point out that Zwarte Piet, the freaking slave of Sinterklaas, is a racist caricature because it's literally a person in blackface, they get so defensive about this. Oh my god, Dutch people go freaking crazy about trying to say that this person wearing blackface is not racist. I don't get it. They are so over the top obsessed with making sure that you don't think that Zwarte Piet or Black Peter is who's a slave of Saint Nicholas is not racist. Oh my goodness.
visits children on December 5th. He was based on Saint Nicholas, an ancient 4th century Greek saint known for gift giving. The magic really occurred when he mixed with traditions from the most Christian of people, the pagan Norsemen. They had a god called Odin the Allfather, who rode through the sky on an 8-legged horse named Sleipnir. Often, children would leave boots by the fireplace filled with carrots and hay for this horrific beast. Odin himself is always portrayed as an old man with a
I know Nightwatcher's a little bit of like a kind of a pagan, so I thought that she would find this video a little amusing. Although I think it's been done by this point.
white beard. Dutch colonists in Manhattan kept this pre-Christian tradition and merged it with Sinterklaas.
I think the problem with this is that it's a bit cliche.
You got Santa Claus.
It's like,
there are a few more
yeah.
ancient traditions that need to be mentioned. Fruitcake, you can blame on the ancient Egyptians, who buried them with their pharaohs. Someone should check if they're still edible. And that Yule log comes from an ancient European tradition of running an all-night bonfire to ring in the new year. And Elf on a Shelf? Let's just not talk about Elf on a Shelf. I guess what I want to say here is Christmas is a beautiful blend of cultures, traditions, and religions alive and dead. Given how jolly a season it is, and the diverse origins of Christmas traditions, maybe we can stop the war on Christmas and just let everyone have fun with it. Maybe in a few centuries we'll have all sorts of fun new traditions. And for those who see it as an important religious holiday, that's okay too. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't all enjoy it. What's your favorite weird Christmas tradition? Let me know.
Man, I looked up a YouTube tutorial to make this snow thing. Man, I'm like looking back at this. I'm like, I used to put so much more work into each video before. I gotta get back on it, man. These this is making me nostalgic for when I used to take like 2 weeks to make videos. I used to do so much more cool stuff. But yeah, it's good. It makes me happy. Yeah. And also, it was my first video where I was like, hey, religion is not necessarily bad. You know, just do you. And everybody will be happy. Yeah, this is like... Yeah, that's a thing. We're coming up on Christmas time. I don't know if I'm going to make a Christmas video this year. I made one in 2017, I think, and nobody watched it. Nobody really watches videos in December, so I'm wondering what I should do.
because like views go way down in December and then but like the ad rates go way up. So it's like really good to make like a semi-successful video that does not get demonetized. All right. So who wants to see part 2 of the Columbus series? I think you mentioned that this was the first one that you saw. So I think this was, oh wait, no, we got to do this one. This is another, this one only has 1.4 thousand views. And it is a step. So one of the things that when I read was in the 28 days of 30 days to a better YouTube channel by Tim Schmoyer, was that you should make a video that talks about like your origin story and sort of write about how you came about and how you made the stuff. And so the next video I made after the Christmas video, this is kind of like a, when I had the time off between Christmas and New Year's, I put together this video that was sort of like the origins of Step Back. Are you going to make a video about Canada legalizing cannabis tomorrow? It could be. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm going to make my quick steps about until Friday, so could be. We'll see how it goes. If it's kind of boring, then I've already talked about it, but if there's something new that comes up, be interesting to see. Who knows? Let's watch the Step Back origin story. There's only 1.4 thousand views. Let's see how it goes. I haven't seen this in a long time, but Kelly says that she still occasionally watches this video just to like, have me appreciate how far the channel's come since then.
Hello, Internet. We're 3 months into Step Back now, and I want to take a little time in the holiday season to reflect a little on what the channel has done, will do, and let you know a little bit about us. First of all, I am blown away by the success we've had.
So there you go. It said, if you saw there, it was 153 subscribers. That's where I was at when I made this video. So that was like 4 months into making Step Back. And I had 4 days worth of watch time, which now it just shows how far things have come, because now I think I'm at 41,000 subscribers, and 4 days is, a slow day instead of like 3 months. It's so crazy. It just shows how much things have changed.
Since September 16th, we've made 6 videos, and each one has been a huge success. I am so happy to learn that I was not the only person out there who wanted more entertaining history content that didn't dwell on battles and kings. History is a rich tapestry, and I'm glad you guys have enjoyed the diversity. As of my writing this, you guys have spent a collective 4 days watching videos that are 3 to 6 minutes long. I have 152 subscribers, which in my discussions with other channels is a very fast increase for 3 months. It is at this point that I'm excited to enter into the new year with zeal. I have thought of a bunch of video ideas that, if I keep on a schedule, I could not think of a new video idea until the spring of 2017 and still have new videos. And on top of those, a few collaborative projects are in their early stages. So I see 2016 as a really exciting year for the channel. I also realized that many of you have no idea who makes these videos.
Whoa, sorry about that.
So I see 2016 as a really exciting year for the channel. I also
Oh man, this is what's it called? This is my face reveal. This is the first time I had ever shown my actual face on Step Back. I thought that was really cool. So like that's a picture of me at New Year's, at some bar in Indiana. The best thing about that night is that after New Year's, like, if you're at a bar for New Year's, they like hand around like you usually get a free little glass of champagne. Well, at this bar that was happening, but then the server dropped a whole bunch of glasses on the floor and put the bottle of champagne down on our table to go and get something to clean it up. And then she never came back for it. So he drank an entire bottle of sparkling wine. It was great.
That many of you have no idea who makes these videos. I don't want to get into too much detail, but
there's me with Winston Churchill's bust. That's in Washington D.C. in Congress.
My name is Tristan, and when I'm not making these videos, I'm working on a PhD in history. So Step Back is not only a labor of love, but also lets me talk about the cool things that I learned in my job. My own research works with the history of technology and communication, specifically the internet.
My old 911 or my old desk.
I have a number of people that
Still have that picture. It's just up there.
much of the business end of the channel, design,
Oh yeah, there you go. There's the terrible Kelly, the terrible Kelly drawing.
critique, and moral support comes from my fiance Kelly, whom this channel would be much worse without.
Oh, we were fiancés at this point.
From the Alternate History Hub for giving me
And that's my rendition of Cody from the Alternate History Hub. Oh my goodness.
advice on getting started and pushing my art style past this. I also wanted to thank all of you guys who have given me the encouragement to keep this locomotive moving. I hope to only make more, better, bigger history videos for you guys going forward. Also wanted
Look at this. Look at this. So this is my these are like my most popular subscribers when I was at 150, and you can see here we've got ThinkFact, who is still him and I are still buds. Jabsy used to be subscribed to me. I'm not sure if he still is. Epic History TV. I don't know who any of these people. Look, Mr. Beat. Look, he was subscribed to me all the way back at this time.
to thank all of you guys who have given me the encouragement to keep this locomotive moving. I hope to only make more, better, bigger history videos for you guys going forward, beginning with part 2 of the 4-part Columbus series coming out on Christmas Eve. Have a great end of December, and if you haven't, subscribe for new videos every 2 weeks.
Oh man. See that's a little inspiring. The end. Oh my. Okay. Guess Chapo Trap House is on Twitch. Anyways, yeah. So that was the end of 2015. That was a special thing. Oh man. That was the good old days. I have no idea where Kelly is. Let me see if she texted me. Not yet. I will call her. I will call her after the stream if she doesn't show up by then. So there you go. Way back in the day. I think that I'm going to pick this up in a future video, like future stream, I think. It was fun. It's fun to go down memory lane, but we went through the 2015 videos, and I definitely think that we could do more. I actually have like a little list of things that I make that I do for streams. And so next we'll probably do another Q&A or something. But yeah, let's just chat for a little bit and kind of finish out the stream that way. So let me just get something real change. Doop, doop. And let's talk to you. That was yeah. I'm not sure what Kelly I don't know what's holding her up, but I'm sure she's fine. Hello, friends. That was fun. That was fun to like watch all the old step back videos and see what and we'll do a bit more in maybe in a few episodes. So what do you guys want to talk about now? What's going on in your life, friends? Or what do you think about all that stuff that went down? I'm going to text Kelly and make sure she's okay. I asked you about Rob Ford in your first stream. What about Rob Ford? I think in the first stream, that's when I told that whole story about that old thing. Did you happen to see my video on custom reality and you? I have not yet. That's still on my list to see. I've been very, very busy this week, so I haven't really watched a lot of YouTube, sadly. You got a new mattress. But those videos were neat. Oh, well, thank you. It's interesting to see how this whole thing started. And then, when you see where the channel got to today, I think I'm close to having 175 uploads. Like, yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's interesting because I think I did a review of Custom Reality and You, so hopefully that'll give you some suggested traffic or something. Oh, what did you want to know about Rob Ford, Glitch 42? just get the chat windows over here. My Discord meme channel. Academic bias won't do. Oh God! All right. I'm gonna try and see if I can show this in. I want you guys to. Oh God! I'm glad that we have we have some official memes going on. Let me just show this to you guys. You guys. Ask you how you lived through the horror because I was worried about Trump. Well, the thing is, when Rob Ford was mayor of Toronto, I didn't live in Toronto, and also he was kind of a joke. Doug Ford, much different. He's been, I guess, like the thing that makes me feel a little bit less terrible is that I can at least worry about. I don't have to worry about it that much. Or that sorry, I do have to worry about it. It's terrible. But I'm luckily involved with an organization that is fighting it. And so through my work, I feel like I am doing my duty to try and fight the good fight to make Canada a better place. So I feel like that my civic duty is taken care of. Besides that, though, oh gosh. It was a tough time, and right now is not fun. So I want to share with you guys something from the Step Back Discord now that it has become a meme. I don't know. I could see this being a thing. I feel like this is going to be quite a thing for the near future. Oh, jeez. Okay. You rowdy bunch of orcs. We knew this would happen, didn't we? Oh, yeah. So, Erudito. Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto back in the day, back in 2013, 2014, who got Toronto notoriety because he was smoking crack while he was in office. He eventually lost the election, and he actually contracted cancer, and he passed away just a couple years ago. And ever since then, he's been part of our legacy. But his brother, Doug Ford, is the premier of Ontario. So he is like the governor of the largest province. He's the governor of he's in charge of the largest province in the country, and so that is quite tragic. Oh no! Did someone just say check Twitter? Oh no! The stream just died. Is the stream not going? It says that. Oh no! Is something going on? It says that it's still going. I don't think it looks like everything's healthy. Okay. All right. I think we're good. I feel like maybe maybe someone from southern India is trying to take me down. Oh Jesus. All right. Oh Jesus. You people. Come on. All right. I guess we're gonna have to show this one too. You people are nuts. All right. All right. So let's see. This is becoming. I am perfectly happy with embracing this weird, this is like the most of an inside joke you could possibly have, but let's just go with it. Now, you know what? Like this is what's going to end up with me having to do Tamil Nadu now, right? It's going to become like my what was that episode of what was that Emperor Tiger Star? Not Emperor Tiger Star, sorry, that Alternate History Hub video that everybody wanted Cody to make, but like he didn't want to make it, but then everyone kept pushing him to do it. And I think he eventually ended up doing it in like a reject pile episode, but I don't remember what it was about. Check my Twitter. I did check my Twitter. I don't see anything about saying that my stream is down, though. Oh, okay. They wanted me to show you this. Jesus Christ. So this is how fast. You guys work so quickly. I'm blown away by this. Oh my god, you people. Oh my god. So somebody went to Wikipedia real fast, and also, oh my god. You guys are gonna kill me. I'll tell you folks, you people are, okay. Are you guys trolling me or something? Because, like, everything is fine on my end. And then you guys keep saying that the stream is down. Oh, jeez. So, oh, man. This is becoming a thing. Alright. Oh, man. The Tamil Nadu memes. Nadudu. Okay. Internal server error. Oh my god, YouTube died. Oh my. So it's YouTube is the issue. Because, like, everything's fine on my end. I don't know what to say. I can't tell if the stream is up or down. Am I talking to no one? Am I alone? Is this all there is? Am I actually alone? Is it gone? No. So alone. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. I hate that I'm going to have to retweet this. All right, so some people are seeing it, some people are not seeing it. I'm really sorry. I don't have a solution if the stream is knocking you off. But oh, man. This is like the time I did a stream and we did a thing where, like, where we did a joke about the orc boys or something like that, and the orc boys, girls, and non-binaries, and there's a whole meme about it. You people are great. I love how quick everyone gets to, like, Photoshop or Paint or whatever. 36 other people are still watching. You're always alone under late capitalism. Thank you, Horror. I appreciate that. Oh, man. It's kind of weird because, like, it feels like I'm, like, talking to all you people and I'm broadcasting and things like, but, like, really it's just a cable connected to a thing that's connecting me to a network, and without that I'm just kind of I've been just, like, alone in this apartment the whole night. It's like, it's kind of creepy. Oh my, okie dokie. So, anybody have any questions you want us to talk about? What should we do? What should we do? I feel like if the stream is unstable, we shouldn't do some like. You just had to reset YouTube. Okay. I hope that like if people, like I feel like things are too choppy to do like Quiplash or something, because that's always fun. We should do Quiplash sometime. That's always good. I feel like maybe like the last hour, like maybe next time I play Assassin's Creed, we'll spend the last hour playing Quiplash because that's always fun. Oh. And also, DQuack looking for a Discord invitation. All right. Let's get that going. Do a rant on how Canada's bacon is fake bacon. You know what? No. Like, all right. So what Americans call Canadian bacon is just ham. Like, that is true. The whole idea of like, I don't know why it's called Canadian bacon in America, but it's just ham. We do have a sort of thing called pea meal bacon, which is pea meal bacon is this whole it's like a sort of pork thing that's rolled in pea meal like I don't know, some sort of like corn flour type thing. And I don't think Americans do that, but it's the closest thing I can think of to like what Americans got the idea for what's it called, for quote unquote Canadian bacon. But like, you get bacon in Canada, it's just like in America. It's the exact same thing, the strips and everything. But we don't have Canadian bacon. We probably call it pea meal bacon or ham. Oh, boy. Do a rant. That's my rant about. Yeah. You. So like, yeah, because Kelly. Pea meal bacon is pretty damn good, and it's really good to be like the meat on a what's it called? On a what's that thing called? That like breakfast where you take like an English muffin and you put like ham and an egg and hollandaise sauce on it. I'm trying to remember what it's called at the moment. Oh yeah, an Eggs Benedict. And an Eggs Benedict, you can put a slice of pea meal bacon on that, and it's pretty good. My dad used to make Eggs Benedict for New Year's Day for breakfast every year. It was pretty good. Man, so many people. I'm very sorry about the stream. It seems like it's the American servers are down. It was like, or at least I don't know. I don't know what it is. It makes me sad. I really wish that like there's a lot of people who are just like not in the channel. Oh man. Maybe we should, it seems like the technical problems are on YouTube's server side, so maybe we should just wind down a little bit early. What do you think, friends? I think there's only like 2 of you in here. Yeah. All right. Now it's not even working for me. All right, friends. Let's just call it a night.